aren't the droids we're looking for.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's them! Blast them!
Hello everybody and welcome back to another Tactics Talk channel episode. My name is Colton and today we are going to be diving into CIS commanders and operatives. Super exciting time for CIS players. I do believe you guys have access to probably the strongest army in the game right now, just overall, especially based off win percentages. Gonna go into these and just continue to grade our units that we have in CIS for the commander and operative slots, and we will be using our criteria that we've talked about recently in our other videos. So number one, does this unit improve my chances to win? Number two, does this unit play its role well? And number three, is this unit cost efficient? Those are the three things I am always grading these guys on. I think one unit can be fantastic at one of these three categories and bad at others. But we are going to go straight into the commanders for CIS. And first and foremost, we have General Grievous. General Grievous is very cool. He's got lots of fun stuff on his card. He gets block, Entourage, IG, 100 Magna Guard, Immune Pierce, Jedi Hunter, Relentless, Scale. He has his trophy lightsabers, which is a double rainbow plus 2 more black. Then he also has a pistol for 2 white, 2 black. Sabers are a crit 1, impact 2, pierce 2, and Annihilators crit 1, pierce 1, versatile. 8 health, courage 2, surge defend, a speed 2 move. He's got 3 command arts. First is trained in your Jedi arts, an absolute crazy melee bomb. He gets a dodge, disengage, and then at the end of his next activation, he gets to use his trophy lightsabers at range melee to 1. It has versatile as well, so he can do it out of melee, and suppressive to add even more suppression. 1 red, 1 white, 2 black. Just a really cool 1 pip that can essentially deal out a ton of damage and honestly just a ton of suppression as well. Very solid. Sprint Commander, 2 troopers. He gets Ruthless this round. And everyone that gets an order, everyone at range 1 of them gets a surge token, beefing up 2 units of your choice. And then his 3 pip is Grievous and 2 units. Everyone gets a surge for each defeated unit. Super cool. I think Grievous is really good. His only downside, in my opinion, is that courage 2, and he's just not a droid. He definitely struggles to ignore suppression. He can be very faulted when he only gets 1 action, but with 8 wounds, search to crit on Jedi, and bringing something with his command slot, or not command slot, training slot to get something like into the fray, he can become very tanky and a great piece. His 1 pip gives him 1 way to get out of melee combats that maybe you don't want to be in, but obviously not a true force user. He's just a giant melee brick. I think Grievous is really solid. I think that you could throw him in just about any CIS list and find success. He does want an IG unit with him just because that's just more value out of his card, but overall, I give Grievous a B+. I think he's solid. I don't think he enters the A category simply due to his suppression issues, but if you have a good line of sight blocker or any type of anti-suppression upgrades, you can usually negate that fact to just make sure that Grievous gets to do his 2 actions. But once he's in, suppression starts becoming less and less relevant, and with Relentless, he can still move and swing with just 1 action. So I like Grievous, just a free ranged weapon on him too to double move and shoot, maybe even turn 1. Lots of cool options with him, but suppression is absolutely his biggest downfall, and that's pretty much the only reason he's not just fantastic. Very cheap, coming in at 130 points is my main reason I like him, for his cost efficiency. Moving on though, we're going straight into Count Dooku. Count Dooku's got Cunning, Deflect, Direct Trooper, Immune Pierce, Makishi Mastery, which lets him reduce his Pierce value on any of his attacks to remove Immune Pierce or get rid of like Impervious. Master of the Force 2, his lightsaber is melee, 5 red, impact 2, pierce 2. Lightning is 6 black and range 1 to 2, pierce 1, scatter suppressive. He's 6 health, 3 courage, surges to crit and surges to defend, speed 2. He's starting off at 165. He's got 3 cards. Actually, technically has 4 cards. First is Fear, Surprise, Intimidation, giving him a much needed Arsenal 2, and Relentless turns him into one of the most killy units in the game for 1 turn. His range weapon also gains versatile, and then anytime he makes an attack against anything, it gets 2 suppression. So whatever you force lightning will actually get 4 suppression, and even what you hit with your lightsaber will still get 2. Very disgusting. Double fall, him and another unit essentially get an order, and then you choose up to 2 enemy units within range 2. Sorry. If you return his token, those 2 units have to put their order token back up as well. So if you have really good order control, you can mess up an opponent's really big play by making them put their big pieces they've given orders to orders back in their bag. It can be really brutal, especially later on in the game as you start running out of things to use that on. The Sith Lord rule is essentially him and Assange. Dooku gets an aim and a dodge, and then the next activation, essentially Dooku and Assange can go back to back, regardless of if Assange has orders. You disappoint me, him and 2 units, if they're issued an order, they get a dodge, and then if he makes a ranged attack, he gets to do a speed 2 move with that trooper. Dooku, in my opinion, is probably, now that Anakin's a little more expensive, he might be the best single model unit in the game, in my opinion. I think that he easily enters our category for A+. He is expensive, he's not exactly cheap, but I think for what he does, that cost efficiency's there. He synergizes extremely well with his faction, just because you can give out an order with him, and it is the order control faction. You oftentimes can make sure you go with what you want, when you want, making Dooku even more appeasing to play. And then on top of that, he is the best piece in Star Wars Legion at controlling the board. He moves stuff around, he scores objectives. If you want to say, I want this side of the board under my control, you put Dooku there, and if you play him right and you learn to play him right, you can pretty much do whatever you want. His 3-pip alone gives you a massive speed 2. I think you kind of always bring force push and burst of speed on him. That's 2 different units if you time it right, that with the 3-pip and the force push, and maybe even killing something as well, you can deny 2 whole units scoring. He is a board control guru. He moves stuff away from objectives. He dominates, zoning out your opponent, everything as such. I know he doesn't have charge. I don't care. The range 2 is still perfectly fine, if not better, with suppressive, and he has that 1-pip that's going to let him dive deep enough into your opponent's territory that you should be able to just move and swing for a lot of that after that anyways. So I think Dooku's fantastic. There's just nothing on his card not to like. His mastery is amazing as well. He's one of the few force users I don't mind putting into another force user, just because you're going to get to reduce his pierce on his lightsaber from pierce 2 to pierce 1, but you can still pierce things that are immune melee pierce. You're pretty much breaking the rules of the game that can be pretty brutal on things like Commander Vader when they don't have surges and defense. So I think Dooku's fantastic. I think you can throw him in any CIS list and he's going to find success. His cards are amazing as well, and honestly, he just has everything. Like, there's not anything on his unit card, if you look at it for more than 5 seconds, that you're going to say, man, he's not that good. I know he doesn't have Relentless, I know he doesn't have Charge, but at least you have a card to do it, and with Cunning, you're pretty much going to get to go first in most of your games. So Dooku for me, solid A+. He fits all of my categories. Yes, he's an expensive piece, but we're talking about the faction that can bring lots of activations for cheap. So kind of offsets that in its own way. Next up, we have Colani. He's got Strategize 2, Direct AI Unit, Exemplar, Reinforcements, Sharpshooter 1. He throws 2 black and melee and 3 at range 1 to 3 with lethal 1. He is 5 health, surges to hit, courage 2, and does not surge defend, speed 2 as well. He's just really solid since he has Exemplar now. He essentially is just a giant token machine. He gives you another order, so I think he's fantastic. 85 points is totally fine. The only downside to Colani, and I mean the only downside, is he's in a competitive slot. Believe it or not, I think all of the commanders on CIS are solid, but I don't think Kalani's bad at all. I think he's going to give out massive amounts of support, utility. He has great synergy with his faction. He checks that box very efficiently. I think he's very cost efficient for what he can bring to the table. You can strategize himself in another unit that you think is a key piece. All of a sudden, you have a dodge and aim available to everything at range 2. And then for your second action, if you don't need to move, you could just take another aim or dodge. And in things like EXD, it is brutal to play against someone like Colani. So I think Kalani is an A, just straight up. I think he's extremely solid. He's just not an A+ because he doesn't really do anything on the offensive or defensive end. He's just solid. Nothing wrong with 3 black dice with lethal 1, and nothing wrong with red saves with 5 wounds. So never really had suppression problems with him, but that's maybe something you keep in the back of your mind, that when you strategize, you are giving yourself a suppression. But I don't know if I've ever played a game of Legion where I say, oh no, my Colani has 4 suppression, this is bad. All right, and moving straight on to Kraken. I've saved the command cards for both of them because they're the same thing, but Kraken is the awkward brother with Strategize 1, Charge, Exemplar, Override, Sharpshooter 1, 4 red in melee, 3 red at range 1 to 3. They both have lethal 1. 5 health, 2 courage, surges to crit, and red defense dice, speed 2. Also really good. Not hating on Kraken at all. I just think he's awkwardly good at picking up models compared to his brother. But on the other side of things, it's not enough for me to really want to throw my commander headfirst into opponents' armies. The biggest thing is, yes, he still has Exemplar, yes, he still has Strategize, but that's been taken down a notch. More importantly, doesn't have Direct. And I think with droids, you're still trying to be the order control faction, make sure you can go with what you want, when you want. That is the benefit of your army, alongside the idea that you can ignore courage most of the time. But since Override just doesn't matter as much as it used to, that mechanic on him matters less, which is also why I think he's 5 points cheaper. I think AMG kind of realizes that. But he just doesn't have the same synergy with the faction. He's definitely more of an independent soul that just moves in and tries to kill some models, maybe strategizes and shares tokens, but at that point, just bring Colani. I don't think his offense negates the amount of support and synergy he loses, so I put him at just a B+. I probably should put him lower, but I honestly never play Kraken, to be blunt with you. But their command cards is they too will suffer. Either of them, at the beginning of the command phase, your opponent must choose core, special forces, support, heavy, so essentially everything but a commander and operative, and return one of those back to the order pool. And then the first time an opponent would pull from the bag, you get to tell them what to pull. Preservation protocols, 2 droid trooper or AI units get dodge, disengage, and impervious this round. Super solid with things like B2s. And then you have a 3-pip, 3 droid troopers or AIs. If it was not divulged, choose 2 ally units that have face-up order token. They can recover. Cool with things like BX droids with tack push and the shields to bring both of those back. And then you can divulge it to give 3 AI units reinforcements. Usually a more popular choice and very solid to get those free moves. But Kraken and Colani, both solid choices. I think Kalani's just a good handful better. He plays the role of commander a lot better than Kraken does, but I don't think Kraken's bad by any means. If you're a Kraken enjoyer, Kraken, keep going. Next up, Pogle Lesser. Once again, sorry, I just literally have never played this guy. He's one of like 3 things I've never played in Legion, and the other one might be Geonosians as well. So, Pogle Lesser though, jump 2, compel core Separatist Alliance Trooper, entourage to B2 battle droids, override, weighed down, 2 black in melee and 2 black at range 1 to 3. He's speed 1, 4 wounds, 3 courage. His cards, let the execution begin. This round, each time a allied core trooper unit makes an attack, defending units within range 2 and line of sight of Pogle Lesser, it gets surged to crit. We serve the queen. He loses direct Geonosian warriors, and Sunfac and allied Geonosian warriors gain coordinate. So essentially you can give all your Geos orders, big order control turn. And at the start of each allied Geonosian warriors unit's activation, it has a face-up order token against an aim and a dodge. So kind of crazy, honestly. We Make Weapons is a 3-pip that is technically a 4-pip. When a droid trooper is issued an order with this card, you may choose to return its order token to the order pool. If you do, you may return 1 defeated miniature unit with no wound tokens and remove 1 suppression from the unit. Kind of cool if you were like spamming B2s. I think there's a world that when people now have access to 6 squads of B2s because they are back on the shelves, that Pogle probably has like some crazy play. But it's like he's awkward in the sense that he wants to be with B2s or Geonosian warriors, and I don't know how to feel about him. He's never impressed me. He's never done anything crazy, but he's 55 points, so like, go figure. He's just kind of awkward in my opinion. Jump 2 is interesting, I guess, but like he's still speed 1. Entourage B2 is cool, but why not just bring direct or direct trooper with Dooku or Colani? Compel is kind of useless unless it's on Geonosians. So I don't know. His cards, his 2-pip actually seems pretty good if you spammed every single Geonosian on the planet, and then his 4-pip seems good if you just spammed B2s to bring back max models. Even the 1 pip seems good. So his cards don't seem bad. It just seems like the 2 and 3 are kind of fighting for, are you going to bring GOs or P2s? Maybe just bring 3 and 3, and there's some cool list I don't know about. But I'm just not very like blown away with what's on his card. He seems like a very, he's red defense dice, excuse me. Not exactly the hardest thing to take off the table regardless. So I'd probably just give Pogle a C-. I don't think there's anything special going on here. It will be one of those characters that like someone's going to win a GT with Pogle and they brought exactly what I just said, because just haven't seen it yet from anyone, you know, trying to make Pogle work, if that makes sense. So very interested to know if you guys have like some Pogle lists that's Pog. So don't know. I've never been impressed by the times he's on the table. He usually just does nothing and dies. So that's C- for me, but I'll give him the benefit of a doubt because his command cards and his cost do not make me think he's straight up bad. Next up, we have the T-Series Bolster 2 Direct Core Droid Trooper Unit, Exemplar, 1 white in melee, 2 black at range 1 to 3, 4 health, 2 courage, white defense dice. Surging. Yes. Totally fine. 60 points, I honestly think is a little high. I know that sounds bad, but since you can direct with Dooku and Colani, his purpose has been negated with the test of time. Exemplar is good, but naturally the surges or whatever, especially with aggressive tactics being God, it is better than it used to be, but at the same time, just not really doing too much. I think he's just a solid B. I would almost give him a, no, you know what, I will give him a B- because the game's a lot closer. Things can just pick him up off the table. He's still great for a cheap way to get your good order control on the table, but I still think you just pay the extra points and bring Colani. But if you don't have the points and you want to save another 40, put another B2 on the table or make it a super squad, then he's not a bad choice. Now remember, he can only direct 2 core trooper units. That is his one downside. But I think with the combo of Dooku and Colani, it kind of helps out a lot in that regard, making sure that works. Okay, next up we have our operatives, and our first one is going to be Assange Ventress. She has jump 2, deflect, immune pierce, independent dodge, 1 indomitable, Chakari mastery, and relentless, 8 black dice. Impact 2, pierce 2. She does not search to hit or defend, but she does have red defense dice, yellow, 2 courage, and 5 health. She's very solid. She's got 3 command cards: the Jedi Shall Fall, Jedi Hunter, and she can gain up to 4 dodges respectively, getting that many suppression. And obviously her mastery lets her can help her use those dodges to make her misses into hits. Her 2 pip is I Am Fear, where essentially she gets to recover and then use a flamethrower, if you will, at range 1 or melee, critical 4, spray, and suppressive with 1 black dice. And then yes, my master is, you have to divulge this card. It is her 3 pip, and she either gets bounty and reinforcements or demoralize 1 and Dooku's mastery and outmaneuver, so pretty good. Assange has recently received a points decrease and has went to 115. I think she's really cost efficient. The main issues with Assange is she's 5 wounds and she is courage 2. So she does absolutely suffer the effects of simply getting focused on. She is one of those pieces that the wrong unit goes into her or shoots at her or melees her, she can just get 1 shot and you never get any value. On the other side of things, if that isn't the case, she can be extremely deadly. She's just in that awkward medium ground where like she wants to be a focus piece, but you have other things like Dooku that probably want to go first. Even things like big B2 squads may want to do going first instead and getting orders instead. But I think Assange is super solid for 115. I usually run her with burst and saber throw, or burst and battle meditation, which that doesn't exist anymore, so usually just saber throw. I like tenacity into the fray, totally understand offensive push to give her aims, but she's really solid. 8 black dice is nothing to scoff at. That's probably the only other thing, is sometimes her dice pool can feel really bad when she just doesn't roll that good. So I think Assange is extremely solid. I think that 3 pip lets you determine what she's going to do in a game. I know most people are just going to do Makishi Mastery, outmaneuver, and demoralize one, because that's absolutely insane that you can bring a 115 point unit that can pierce one force users or immune melee pierce units in particular. But on the other side of things, I think that reinforcements and bounty in particular is nothing to just leave at home. Double bounty with Assange is totally a real thing and very, very good now that you don't have to be alive to score it. So I like Assange a lot. I think the points decrease puts her in the A category, but I will keep her at an A- simply because she doesn't quite have enough wounds to hang in there against a lot of things. And then that Courage 2, yes, she has Indomitable, but there will be games where you just get one action with her and that can be brutal. Like I said, I'm going to keep the bounty hunters to a special bounty hunter report card video. I will try to do that right after this one before I get to Rebels, so we can use that in further discussions and before Shadow Collective well. So that means the next one we have is Maul. Maul is my boy. I've probably played more Maul than anything else. I probably said that phrase before too, so I have lost track. But Maul, I played a ton of Maul when I first started playing Legion. Jump 1, deflect, immune pierce, Gyro Mastery, which just means when he has a wound, he gets an extra action. So yeah, pretty good. 4 red, 4 white, impact 2, pierce 2, no surging to hit or defend, but red defense dice, 3 courage, 6 health. He's just a classic example of bringing into the fray and tenacity because he wants to take a wound, honestly. His 3 cards are Duel the Fates. He gets disengaged, dodge, and then anything engaged with him cannot use green tokens. Phantom Menace, you can divulge it to give him infiltrate, and then you can play the card to make it to where nothing at range 2 of him can shoot him. He can also give an order to 1 trooper. At last is Maul's 3-pip, which is also a 1-pip, which gives him Jedi Hunter and aim, and he can also choose to suffer a wound to get his mastery going if you have not already taken one. Maul's tough. He's at 130 off the rip. I think he's fine. He just fails one of my categories pretty aggressively in this army, and that's synergy. He is absolutely a beat stick. He doesn't have any synergy with anything else. He doesn't do anything else for anyone. And in CIS, that's kind of an uncommon theme. I know Asajj is kind of the same way, but she at least has some form of synergy with Dooku and the 3-pip. But Maul is absolutely an operative. He is a lone operative that is going out to kill stuff, murder stuff. And then last but not least, his biggest problem for me is the conversation of force push. You could argue that it makes it better now that he's cheaper and you could just run like burst of speed and choke, or burst of speed and saber throw, or maybe just saber throw and choke, any of those combinations, and say, well, great, I don't need force, push anymore anyways. But I do think that does affect him a little bit because push is so good with those 3 actions to just do all manner of crazy things. But he doesn't have Master of the Force, so it's really hard to justify bringing it. I always want to, but just can't do it sometimes. So I think he's fantastic. I think he's a little bit more expensive than Asajj. He can absolutely clean up parts of the table into the fray, makes him a little tanky, but he is very, very selfish. And in doing so, I think he's more selfish than Asajj and costs more than Asajj, but can sometimes end up doing the same amount of stuff. You're going to want to play all of his command cards, essentially. The 2 1-pips is really good. I really want to make him a B+ instead of an A-, and I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to. I'm gonna put him as B+. I think we would see Maul more if he had any type of synergy with anything else. The 2 1-pips are really solid, but in this version of the game, I mean, it's less important because everything might already be tangled up, and playing a stronger card can make sense. So I think Asajj does kind of outweigh him a little bit because of that auto pierce 1 with that mastery, and then just being able to be a little bit better at being independent, getting dodges, and being less command card hungry than our counterpart Maul. I think he wants to play all 3 of his command cards to be truly effective. And then last but not least, we have Sunfac as our last operative that is CIS. He is coming in at 55 points. Jump 3, cover 1, death from above, direct Geonosian warrior, retinue, Pogle the lesser, scale, weight down, 2 red and a black with pierce 1 and melee, and then a rainbow and range 1 to 3 suppressive, 5 wounds, and 2 suppression. He has 1 card called Brutal Enforcer. Start of activation phase, choose up 2 allied Geonosian warriors within 2. They may do a jump 3, and Sunfac gains agile 1, demoralize 1. Once again, I just don't like, he just exists. I never see him, and when I do, he's white defense dice, surging, 5 wounds, 2 courage, and then surging to hit. I usually just one-shot him, and then that's it. Sometimes he shoots me, and it doesn't do anything because it's a single rainbow. So I don't like him that much. I will say that he is extremely fast with that jump 3, and that 1 pip is really good for just moving everything. If weighed down wasn't a keyword, I would love these guys a lot more, but I don't think speed is as important as it used to be. There's some objectives it can be useful on, but like once you get to round 2 and definitely round 3 in most games, everything's in the middle, everything's on the objectives, even if it's speed 1 Vader, like he's there. So these super fast units like Sunfac that just would be really great scoring pieces and still can be, just don't impress me that much. So I give Sunfac just a C-, just like Pogle. I've never played him either, but I've played against him plenty of times, and I've never, you know, trembled in my boots at this. He works fine, good, if you will, with other Geonosians. Him, Sunfac, and some Geos absolutely are meant to go together, but the rest of CIS synergizes just as well, if not better. So I don't really think about him as a problem or an answer to your Geo problems. I would love to see some people run more max Geos with that combination and show the true potential of them and just how good they can be. But I do think with the giant dice pools in the game and the lots of up close and personal fighting, the Geonosians don't have the health or saves to stick around to justify all of that commitment to that idea. But regardless, those are the operatives and commanders for our first report card on CIS. Like I said, I promise you I will cover the bounty hunters. I just genuinely think they deserve their own episode, as they are probably my favorite keyword / unit in the game. Love bounty hunters, so I think covering them kind of covers all of the factions as well. I don't think they necessarily get better or worse throwing them in certain factions, nowadays at least. So tell me what you guys think. If you think I rated anything wrong, totally understandable. This is not the law of the land. These are my personal opinions based off our characteristics of why I think these units are good or bad. Something to have a foundation on for you guys looking to get into the game, or people that have been playing the game and you're like, man, these E-webs just aren't cutting it. And little did you know, they're not that great. So with that being said, let me know in the comments if you've made any of these things that I rated bad or good work. Tell us everything that you think about the game right now. As always, good luck, have fun,